Welcome to
Theories
of the third kind.
Welcome to Theories of the Third Kind. My name is Aaron. The other host joining me today is Danielson.
Hello.
Now, before we start today's episode, we do have a couple of quick announcements for your ass.
If you would like to support the show, you could do so by joining our premium subscription service, Supercast. For just $6.66 a month, you can enjoy weekly premium audio episodes and access our extensive back catalog of over 230 plus premium episodes that are all ad-free.
Or if you are a big baller, shot caller, you ride on 20-inch blades like little Troy, you can sign up to our premium video service and pay $9.99 a month and get not only the audio episodes, but also our video episodes. So you get the YouTube versions of the video regular episodes for free already. And then for the premium service, you get a premium episode that's exclusive, different from the regular one each week. And you'll get the audio and video versions of that.
Nice.
And to sign up, just go to our website, theoriesofthethirdkind.com. There'll be a button right in the middle of our website that says Supercast. You click on it, it will take you over there. Super easy to sign up. And super easy to do.
Now, we know things are tough out there right now, so if you can't afford a premium membership, but you still want to help us out, you can do so by leaving us a written review on iTunes or Spotify.
That helps us out a lot.
However, don't feel pressure to leave us one. If you don't want to, that's fine. We just want you guys, girls, aliens, reptilians, Bigfoot, Sasquatches, chupacabras, ghosts, Illuminati members, underground lizard people, whoever, whatever you are, to enjoy the show. Also, remember, our content is entirely human-made. No AI were harmed or used in the process other than for the episode graphic.
Which wasn't entirely used, just to create a base, and then we put it in Photoshop and do the rest ourselves. So that right there is the end of the announcements. And today's episode is the 1997 Texas Fumes incident. And boy, oh boy, did we have a time researching this, which I'll get into that later on. But it was very difficult. But this entire topic was very interesting and strange. But before we get into it, I want to say welcome to everyone. Sorry we have been gone for the past few weeks. We had some very important things to take care of, like surviving.
Surviving was the main thing.
Yeah. But anyway, let's hop into today's episode. And to start it off, we are first going to tell you about where this entire thing took place at. The great old state of Texas.
Tejas.
So Dan, can you start that off for us?
Of course. Now, I am certain that everyone knows where the state of Texas is located. If you live in the United States, even if you don't live in the United States, Texas is so big, like you would notice it on the map. But in the middle of Texas, roughly, there is the city of Waco, and about 88 miles north is the city of Fort Worth, which here is a picture of Texas where Fort Worth is located, and it points down to Texas, which is that big ass area, which I don't know what it looks like.
Points to Fort Worth, and then the green arrow points to Austin, where we're located at. So you go from Austin, you go 3 hours north, and you'll hit Fort Worth. Now, located in the city of Fort Worth is a big-ass building called the Overton Center. Now, this Overton Center is actually two buildings near one another. And you have Overton Center Tower 1 and Overton Center Tower 2. Now, both buildings were built in 1977. They are both 9 stories tall. They are 417,465 square feet and are located within a prime location near I-20 in southwest Fort Worth, Texas.
So throughout the years, the Overton Center has rented out sections of its building to various businesses, providing them office space in the prime area of Fort Worth. And we have images of the buildings here, of the Overton buildings, Center 1 or Tower 1 and 2.
And they just look like normal office buildings.
It reminds me of that building that was destroyed that belonged to what, CIA or FBI? That had all the documents in it?
Building 7?
Yeah.
Pull it. That's what they said. Pull it. demolition or
Yeah.
detonated it on live TV during 9/11. Never forget.
So yeah, that is Fort Worth, Texas, in the Overton Center. And it would be this Overton Center building that our entire story revolves around today.
So it all started off on April 1st, 1997. It was a normal Tuesday for many of the workers there. They all arrived at the Overton Center building and went to the floor that the company that they worked for was at. So, like, multiple different companies would rent out various floors of the Overton Center. So the workers got to their desks, began drinking their coffee, chatted with one another, asked about the TPS reports and if they were available. It was pretty much a typical Tuesday morning. However, that would all change.
A mysterious smoke that smelled of cheap perfume wafted through the office buildings of Overton Center Tower 1. The smoke eventually covered multiple floors of the building, and workers began running out of their offices. The buildings were evacuated, and the local fire department was called.
When they arrived, over 130 individuals had issues breathing, were dizzy, and sick to their stomachs, vomiting. 72 of those individuals were sent to the nearby hospital, and the fire department closed down both of the buildings, Tower 1 and Tower 2, even though that smoke was only in Tower 1. They closed down both of them. And the firefighters put on their SCBAs and went inside both of the buildings.
What does SCBAs mean?
Self-contained breathing apparatus.
Nice. Upon entering the buildings, they did not see any smoke or debris or leaks. The fire department ventilated the building and then went back inside with their meters and could not find the source of the smoke. After multiple hours of ventilating, the fire department concluded that it was safe for workers to just go back inside and get back to work.
So by the time the fire department conducted the ventilation procedures and clearing the building and everything and saying, hey, it's good to go back inside of, hours had passed, a lot of hours, so much so that it was already Wednesday morning. And it was Wednesday, April 2nd of 1997, of course, the following day.
Same as today.
And that Wednesday morning, the fire department notified the building management that they did not find the issue or the location of where the smoke was coming from or fumes, but it should be safe to allow workers back inside. But they're going to ultimately leave that decision up to them. So building management decided to open up the buildings to the businesses and their workers.
Now, workers began coming back to their offices and discussing what happened, the morning prior. Oh, did you smell that? Oh, yeah, it smelled so good, but it was cheap perfume. Almost passed out. However, less than 2 hours later, the mysterious smoke that smelled of cheap perfume wafted throughout the office buildings of Tower 1 yet again. The buildings were both evacuated, and the fire department was called in again.
Hundreds of the workers began rushing out of both of the buildings and began vomiting, gasping for air, collapsing, and screaming on the front lawn in front of the buildings. 30 of those individuals were sent to a hospital nearby, but the doctors could not find anything seriously wrong with them. They were just like, damn, you just fucked up. Of course, news stations got word of this, and they already had reporters on the scene. So news stations heard about what happened on Tuesday, and they already had people like ready to go. And it happened again that Wednesday morning. So they had the news reporter rush there, and they met the fire department there, and they had like this spokesperson, which is like a fire official, and he made a statement. And
The PR person.
Yeah, and this fire official stated, and we quote,
"The building was aired out overnight. We couldn't find anything with our meters or noses, so we left it up to building management, and they decided to open it back up. Within 2 hours, people on all floors began complaining of nausea, headaches, and shortness of breath. We never like to get to the point where we put our hands up and give up, but we do not know what is happening. The building is going to have to contact a consultant before reopening. They may have issues with air conditioning or heating equipment. We don't know."
end quote. So the fire department was like, we don't know what the hell's going on. Hire a consultant. That's it.
Why do I feel like that's being lazy? Thought they were supposed to figure it out. But then
Oh,
again, I mean, it's not really a fire. It's not, they couldn't find a gas leak or anything. So, yeah.
yeah. So the building management ended up closing the building down and bringing in a hazardous material expert company to see what the issue was. However, this is where our story ends. There was no follow up, no public announcements. The buildings have both still been allowing individuals and businesses inside. However, our story does not stop here because now we're going to get into the strange facts and findings that we uncovered while researching this story. And if you're trying to look up and find information, you're not going to find a single thing about it.
Oh, I know what caused all of it.
You already know?
Yep. Sex Panther.
Oh, God. I was going to say, if you're trying to look up something, dude, I fucking scoured the web. Scoured. And I didn't find nothing. And I get into my research at the end and explain it in detail what I did. And it's crazy. It's the most I've ever done. But anyway. All right. So let's get on to our first strange fact and finding.
All right. So our first strange fact and finding is about a similar incident that happened less than a week later. So about 23 miles east of the Overton building in Fort Worth is the Centerpoint building in Arlington, Texas.
Which, by the way, Arlington is located between Fort Worth and Dallas. So you got Fort Worth, Arlington, Dallas. And the Dallas Cowboy Stadium is in Arlington.
Isn't just like Fort Worth, Arlington, and Dallas, like, isn't just all considered Dallas?
Dallas, Fort Worth, they call it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So it's in between the two. Arlington is. Anyway, so at this Centerpoint building, and less than a week after the Overton building had their issue with fumes, Centerpoint would have a similar issue.
A mysterious smoke filled the Centerpoint building offices, and around 600 workers were evacuated. The fire department showed up, and around 10 of the workers were sent to the local hospital due to dizziness, headache, lightheadedness, and vomiting. Blood tests were taken of the 10 workers, and they came back completely normal.
Also, the fire department brought in a hazardous material handling team who searched the building but were unable to find the source of the mysterious odor and fumes. The fire department then released the building to its management, who then reopened it. So it's kind of odd that you had two incidences, April 1st and 2nd, in Fort Worth, and then a week later, 20 miles east in Arlington, the same exact thing happens. Strange.
It is. And our next strange fact and finding is about a news article. So as we were researching this topic, mostly Aaron, we stumbled upon a news article that was posted by the Associated Press on April 17th, 1997, only 16 days after the first waves of fumes hit the building in Fort Worth.
The article was titled, "Many Workers Convinced Buildings Make Them Sick." So this article starts off with, for 3 years, English teacher Peter Ganelis says he has suffered from nausea, headaches, lightheadedness, and sinus pressure so intense that his teeth hurt. Some days he has to leave school and go home. He believes he was made sick by working in a moldy, damp wing of Hastings Middle School in Fairhaven, Massachusetts. After Peter complained, the administration put a fan and renovated the ventilation system. But the new system circulates outside air, which brings in the rotten egg sulfur smell of a landfill nearby. So Peter says his ailments persist.
Then the article goes on to say, like Peter, many people are convinced their workplaces are making them sick. After the energy crisis of the 1970s, architects and engineers began designing more efficient buildings without windows that open. Since the early 1990s, building codes have required a certain amount of fresh air to be brought into a building's cooling and heating system, but there's been resistance because of the added expense.
There have been many recent complaints about sickening buildings. For example, in January of 1997, current and former workers at the Institute of Cardiology in Indianapolis sued their company, saying the ventilation system made them sick.
2 weeks ago, in the beginning of April of 1997, hundreds of employees at Overton Center Tower in Fort Worth were evacuated 2 days in a row after smelling fumes. Many were nauseated, dizzy, or felt weak in the knees. The building was reopened last week, but the source of the fumes remains a mystery.
The article goes on to say, last year in 1996, responding to workers' complaints of headaches and sore throats, Transportation Department officials declared their Washington headquarters a, and we quote, sick building. And they recommended that they relocate the employees while the ventilation system was overhauled. Consultants found high levels of hydrocarbons and slightly elevated levels of carbon dioxide.
We weren't getting enough air in from the outside, so it made it difficult to breathe, said Patricia Spirer. A sick building cleaning team has been working its way through the building. Since the ventilation system has been renovated, Patricia said things are much better.
The article ends by saying, the Environmental Health Center has seen people who have apparently become sick from everyday materials in their offices, including paint, dust, carpets, disinfectants, and pesticides. And that was the end of the article, which is very odd. It's only a week or so after the shit happened at the Overton Center that they released and was like, hey, this is not the only one. A lot of people are getting sick in their office buildings.
And it's like, after a week, it's like, okay, whatever.
What?
After a week after the Overton, it kind of just like dropped out of the news, right?
What do you mean?
They didn't talk about it much. I mean, other than after what happened in Arlington.
Yeah. Yeah, there was only 3. I go into that here in a minute. There was only 3 news stations that covered it and wrote a news article about it.
Yeah, you figure like if there was like fumes or something in a like building, it'd be a really big deal and like they'd be searching over it. There'd be more articles and stuff over it, but
it gets fucking weird when I started digging deep into it. Like, this is a cover up.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're going into the next strange fact and finding, which is a Reddit post. So as we were looking for any information we could find about this topic, we stumbled upon a very interesting Reddit post. On this Reddit post, an individual talked about their experience with the 1997 Texas Fumes incident and left a comment on their theory as to what happened.
So this comment was left 2 years ago by the Reddit user named Angus Van Hook Henson. This comment said, and we quote, I was 22 in 1997 and living in Fort Worth. My other credentials are that I have worked in some form of construction, indoor, renovation, outdoor, and new, off and on all my life.
To be perfectly clear, while I did not and have never worked at Overton Center, there's always plenty of talk about who is doing what, so you get a bit of inside track if you listen. Here's my conspiracy theory on what happened.
I genuinely think that it started with someone who wanted a day off. When patient 0, we say quote patient 0, called in sick saying they couldn't breathe or whatever, others called in sick the next few days with the same excuse. This snowballed into what was referred to as a quote unquote sick out when I was a kid.
In a sick out, dozens of students in a school, usually in the same class level, juniors and seniors, all called in sick so they could all have an unscheduled, coordinated day off and went to watch movies or go swimming or something else similar. I think that's what happened at Overton Center, except it wasn't coordinated.
It was more like revenge. Quote, if that bitch Karen is taking off, I'm going to do the same thing. And it ballooned to people in multiple departments and then multiple companies within the same office center. Meanwhile, I recall seeing news at the same time that a similar thing was happening all over the place in the United States.
Suddenly, workers in office buildings were getting sick with stuff that couldn't even be quantified. Shortness of breath, just general sickness, nothing that could be actually tested for.
In an effort to make people feel better, or even to show the employees and leasing companies that there was nothing wrong with the air in the building, the Overton Center and their counterparts across the nation brought in air quality testers. And this gave birth to the entire mold remediation industry.
So before the late 90s, no one cared about black mold. After this series of events, and keep this in mind, what I witnessed in real time, when the news stories started blaming black mold, everyone in the construction field with 2 brain cells to rub together and $200 to $300 got certified for mold remediation.
I'm still certified. in case a perfect storm of such proportions ever happens again. In 1997, I made $28,500 as a framer. In 1998, I made $78,000 as a mold remediation specialist at 23 years old. God damn.
Lastly, why the quotes on black mold? Because mold that's black, in 99% of cases, isn't the black mold that everyone should be afraid of. In fact, most mold is some shade of gray or black. But the toxic stuff, Stachybotrys, is what everyone should be afraid of.
Here's the thing. Stachybotrys can't live in the light. So if you see mold or mildew on the walls in a brightly lit office space, it's not Stachybotrys. And even if it was, you would have to tear down a wall in the dark, pick it up with your fingers, snort it, and be allergic to it to have any huge effect. Otherwise, it's just like a moderate chest cold. But that didn't stop me from making bank for a few years in my 20s, so thanks for that. End quote.
Damn.
That was the end of the Reddit comment. So that's pretty much a strange fact and finding, but also a theory in itself.
Yeah.
As to what happened, that some weird shit was going on with the building offices, and that gave birth to the mold, the whole black mold thing that everybody talks about.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much like you said, it's an uncoordinated sick out where they didn't plan to all call out or like get sick and everything like that, but it produced an opportunity for people to become what? Mold mediators, whatever.
Yeah. And that leads us to our theory section. So Dan, why don't you tell us about our first theory that we have?
All right. So our first theory is called terrorist attack. This theory states that the smoke and fumes were the product of a failed terrorist attack that ended up being not reported to the news and downplayed. However, many people say that is unlikely. Why? Well, one of the key features of terrorist attacks is that the groups or individuals responsible tend to be pretty clear about who did it and why. That's pretty much the whole point. Unless you're Heath Ledger's version of the Joker and creating mass chaos and panic is the end game for you, which that type is pretty rare.
Yeah.
Heath Ledger's one of a kind.
Yeah. So a lot of people will say, hey, it was a terrorist attack. It was a terrorist attack. They failed twice, but no terrorist organization came forward. And that's the whole point. They want to make a statement. You know, they want to be known. Hey, it was us who did it, and we did it because of X, Y, and Z.
I mean, technically, did they fail? They got people to evacuate, but
yeah,
at the end of the day. But I mean, if it didn't like cause any casualties, so I don't know if a terrorist group want to make claim like, hey, we did this. Oh, you failed? No, but we did make people evacuate the building. They lost money that day. Okay, sure.
Lockheed Martin has a lot of office spaces in there.
Oh.
They've had it since 1977. Yeah.
Damn.
Anyway. All right. So our next theory is called AC coolant leak. It's pretty much self-explanatory. There was an AC coolant leak in the AC system, and that's what caused the fumes. And this theory was actually pushed by the fire department PR team. He was one of the first ones that mentioned it and said, it could be that.
Could be that.
And that's what everybody kind of picked up on.
Our next theory is called mass hysteria, Aaron's favorite. This theory is that the entire thing was mass hysteria. For example, there's a story about a person who worked in a mail distribution center, was processing mail, and apparently let out a very, very rank fart. Rip. It was so smelly that it was reported as a hazardous situation. The farter didn't fess up and blamed the letter. The fire department came and the entire building was evacuated for many hours. Dude, that guy must have a nuclear reactor in his ass.
Yeah.
Now, I did see an episode of House. A clip, okay? I didn't watch the whole thing. At the hospital, one guy was started complaining that he smelled something weird and he started coughing and he ended up just passing out. And that ended up starting a whole mass hysteria. People just something in the air, they started covering their mouths and stuff, and people just started dropping and all that. And it wasn't because they were breathing anything in. The one guy, he was just sick. The rest of the people, they pretty much held their breath and just fucking passed out. But they thought they were breathing something in, but they held their breath till they passed out because they didn't want to inhale anything. Which I don't think any of these people passed out, did they? Nausea, dizziness.
Some of them had fainting spells, but a lot of them were vomiting or like screaming while laying on the lawn and stuff like that. Can you imagine being the fire department pulling up on the second day and being like, these motherfuckers, look at all these idiots.
They had it again, man.
It'd just been hours, like 2 hours since they had released it. They went back to the fire station and got another call. Motherfucker, smoke's back again? What? We just left that bitch.
Dude.
That pissed me off.
That's in another fire station.
Yeah. All right, so tell us about this next theory, Dan.
All right, so this next theory is called idling truck. This theory states that there was a truck parked idling in front of the building's air intake. The exhaust of the truck went into the building's air intake and spread throughout the building. To back this theory up, many universities actually have an enormous no parking sign in front of their air intake for a large building. Also, to add to this theory, maybe there was a construction going on nearby and the building had shitty ventilation. This ventilation sucked in all the debris and fumes from the ongoing construction and spread it throughout the AC vents inside the building.
So either a truck parked near the AC ventilation and was left idling, their fumes went inside there and it spread through the AC vents, or there was construction going on nearby, the ventilation sucked up the debris and fumes from the construction and spread it throughout the AC vents.
See, but I feel like exhaust does not smell like cheap perfume, for one, because that's what people said it smelled like, cheap perfume.
Mm-hmm.
Exhaust, I wouldn't think that. Debris and stuff, I don't think it smelled like that either, but I don't know. That's
weird.
It's weird. I mean, it could cause people to, be nauseous and everything like that, the exhaust, but not the cheap perfume. I'm probably trying to think of like what kind of like scent it would be. Like, was it sweet, a sweet perfume or a
cheap? I don't know what cheap perfume smells like. All I go out with is people who wear expensive perfume. I'm just kidding. I don't go out with anybody. All right. So let's talk about our last theory, which is called hysterical contagion. So in social psychology, hysterical contagion occurs when people in a group show signs of a physical problem or illness, when in reality, there are psychological and social forces at work. So pretty much mass hysteria, version 2.0. And the June bug epidemic serves as a classic example of hysterical contagion. So in 1962, a mysterious disease broke out in a dressmaking department of a U.S. textile factory. The symptoms included numbness, nausea, dizziness, and vomiting. Word started to spread between the workers of a bug that was in the factory that would bite its victims and cause them to develop those symptoms of having like numbness, nausea, dizziness, and vomiting. So as this word of this bug spread throughout this factory, 62 employees ended up developing this mysterious illness, some of them who were hospitalized. The news media ended up reporting on the case, and after research by the company's physicians and experts from the U.S. Public Health Service Disease Center, it was concluded that the case was one of, quote-unquote, mass hysteria, or also known as hysterical contagion. The researchers believed some of the workers were bitten by the bug, but anxiety was probably the cause of the symptoms. No evidence was ever found for a bug which could cause the flu-like symptoms, nor did all the workers demonstrate bites or have bites on them. Workers concluded that the environment was quite stressful. The plant had recently opened and was quite busy, and organization was poor. Further, most of the victims reported high levels of stress in their lives. Social forces seemed at work too. Of the 62 employees that reported symptoms, 59 of them were on the first shift, 58 worked in the same area, and 50 of the 62 cases occurred in 2 consecutive days after the media supposedly sensationalized the event. Most of the employees who became sick took time off to recuperate. And that is a perfect example of hysterical contagion, aka mass hysteria, which I just learned this out yesterday. Mass hysteria is an outdated term. Yes.
Really?
It supposedly is anti-female. Hysteria in Greek means wandering uterus.
What does that have to do with English?
I don't fucking know.
I mean, I guess I get it now, but it means this in Greek.
Supposedly it's anti-female. I don't fucking know. I didn't know that. So I apologize.
So we say what? Hysterical contagion now?
Yeah. Hysterical contagion.
So we've been anti-female this whole time?
Screw you, women. No, I'm just kidding. Love you.
You and your fucking wondering uses. Hysteria. Right. I did not know hysteria meant that in Greek. That's honestly really weird.
Yeah. Anyways, so that right there is our last strange fact and finding.
All right. So 12 people actually really got it. Then 50 of the 62 all of a sudden got it.
Just they just wanted time off. Aaron, I would have milked it too, man. Fuck these companies.
Aaron, I got bit by a bug.
I need time off. I need time off too.
We both got bit by a bug again.
Yeah. But anyways, so yeah, that it kind of makes you wonder, like, was this entire situation with the Overton Center that happened over those 2 days, was it because of hysterical contagion, or was it a combination of like fumes from the outside coming in, or did like a worker wear a weird perfume and that's what happened? And then everybody was like, oh, I feel dizzy. And then everybody's like, oh yeah, I feel dizzy too. Oh yeah, wink, wink, I feel dizzy. Let's get off work. But before we go to our own personal thoughts and theories.
I see you have this big portion down here of your research process weirdness.
It's fucking weird. All right.
I'm ready for this.
All right. I want to say that when I research something, the majority of the time I have zero issues finding a ton of information and sources about that episode. However, for this topic particular, that was not the case. Information about this topic was either hidden or erased from the internet. And I'm being dead serious. I spent hours upon hours researching and getting stonewalled at every turn, finding nothing or just finding very, very little of the same stuff being repeated over and over again. And I don't usually do this, but I'm going to walk you all through my research process so that you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. All right. So when I started this episode off researching it, I wanted to first look into the history of the Overton Center building in Fort Worth. And I couldn't find a damn thing about the building itself. Nothing. I couldn't even find the date that it was constructed.
Really?
Yes. I ended up going to the Fort Worth Architecture website. And on this website, they have a list of all the buildings in Fort Worth. And next to the building name, they have the year that they were constructed. If you go to that website, all the dates are listed except the Overton Center. Right there. There's a screenshot of it with the green arrows pointing to it. Overton Center, 4100 International Plaza. The date is missing.
The date is missing.
All the other buildings have the date that they were constructed. So I was like, fuck, it's not on there. That only pushed me to investigate this shit even more. And I knew that this building was located in Tarrant County. So I went to the Tarrant County Appraisal of Public Information, and that is where I found that the Overton building was built. I had to go to the Tarrant County Appraisal Public Information site to pull up the actual property records to find it. You would figure a building of this, like caliber, would have a historical write-up of who built it, when it was built, who paid for it, all that shit, like all the other buildings do. And this one did not. All you're going to find is realtors trying to resell spots in the building. That's all you're going to find. You're not going to find a historical write-up. So my next step in my research was to target local archives and historical records because I wanted to learn more about the fumes and the incident itself. So I performed a search on the Fort Worth Star-Telegram archives from April 2nd to the 8th of 1997, and it revealed no digital archives about the incident. So what did I do after that? I said, well, I'm going to turn to the local TV stations, WFAA, NBC5, and CBS 11. They likely covered the evacuation of the event, during that period.
Yeah, they had news
reporters there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But after contacting all of them, I quickly learned that either they don't have archived data from 1997 or that their archives from 1997 are not digitized. They are all printed out, and that they're not going to go dig through those boxes of information for me. They're not going to do it. I said, okay. So after that, I decided to contact the Fort Worth Fire Department, since they were the ones who responded to the incident. So they will likely have a historical incident log about the 1997 event. So I called them and then submitted a public records request. And I ended up getting a call back and was told that they do not have those records from those days in April of 1997. They do not have those records. Either they were lazy or they're hiding them. At this point, I started to get frustrated. However, with my knowledge regarding radiation and hazardous materials, I knew that since a hazardous team was sent in, that the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, TCEQ, would have been involved. They would have to make a log record and documentation of this event in their system. So I submitted an inquiry for the TCEQ open records request. Got ignored. Nothing received back. Finally, I learned that the Overton Center is currently managed by commercial real estate firms, and I decided to contact the current leasing agent for them. This is my thought process. I thought that, I might or might not have pretended to be interested in leasing out a section of the building, okay? That got me in touch with one of the leasing agents. I spoke with the agent and told them that I was super interested. However, before I rent out that office space, I would like a historical incident record report of the building from 1977 to current date. I got hung up on. So following that, I just continued to look for news articles, and I found 3 in total. 3. One from Fort Worth, one from LA Times, and one from Tampa. So needless to say, whatever happened with the fumes was either 1, the fumes happened and it was covered up. 2, the fumes never happened. Or 3, they happened and they weren't covered that much. Just 1 or 2 stations picked them up. One of 3. Me personally, this is me personally. I think it did happen. I think at the time, some of the news stations had rented out some of those areas in the buildings. And if they reported on that happening, the people who are leasing out those buildings would say, this is bad publicity. Nobody's going to want to lease from us. We're going to cancel your lease and kick you out.
Ooh.
That's what I think happened. So that's why they didn't cover it.
I mean, that would explain why they had someone on the scene already.
Yep. That's what I think happened.
The fact that they hung up on you when you asked for a historical report.
Yeah. I wonder how many other reporters have pulled that same thing.
I don't know.
Dude, I pulled out all stops to try to get any information and kept getting stonewalled. And I'm like, fuck, dude, there's something either being covered up or just they don't want people to know about it.
Usually you're really good at finding information.
I can't find shit, which made me want to do this episode even more. It reminds me of the Gloria Ramirez episode we covered.
Oh, yeah. What do they call her?
The Toxic Lady. Toxic Lady.
I don't know. Should we do a part 2 of this one? We both go at it, see what we can find.
I'll fucking drive up there to the Overton Center. And then I'll drive to the Fort Worth thing, and I'll drive to the news stations that were like, we're not gonna go out there and manually search through the records, Aaron. Sorry. I'm like, fucking get off your ass, Eli. Go do something for me. Damn.
This is your job. Fucking do it. Do it.
We could go deep in this if we wanted. We could actually drive there. It's an hour and a half up the road. Actually, it's 3 hours up the road.
Yeah, 3 hours up the road. But I kind of want to go walking through this building. I mean,
Get a smoke bomb? No.
oh,
Reenact the scene.
everybody out! Everybody out!
But yeah, this entire incident is weird. If you had to pick which one you think it is, what do you think? Do you think it really happened? Do you think it was made up? Do you think it happened and was covered up?
I think it happened, and it definitely seemed covered up for the fact that there's not many articles covering it, but newspaper or news station covered it in Tampa. So
In Tampa.
it made its way from Texas to Florida in the news.
Texas, so it was Fort Worth, LA Times, Tampa News.
Yeah, so
Those are the only three who reported on it.
See, that's...
It's weird that no other stations picked it up.
Yeah, see, I think it did happen in something, like you said, they're covering it up for some reason, maybe for their reputation or...
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. News agencies rented out a portion of the Overton Center, and then we're like, hey, all stop on this bad publicity for these buildings. You know, you want to get kicked out? You still want to keep your office buildings? Don't report on this. That's what I truly think happened.
Yeah, that's very weird. Like you said, when you look up the Overton Center buildings, the only thing you get are leasing advertisements.
Information. No historical data on it. You had to pull the property records to see what year it was built. This is fucking nuts.
Interesting.
Well, if you or a loved one have personal stories or involvement or know anyone involved with the 1997 Texas Fumes incident at the Overton building or the Overton Center in Fort Worth, please send us an email or comment down below on our YouTube channel. We would love to get in contact with you and have a few discussions.
And if you think we should go there and actually investigate it, find out more, see if Aaron passes out with his dizziness, nausea, vomiting.
Hit up the JFK sniper nest.
Even though they're saying that it's the driver now or someone in the car?
I don't know. They released the information. I haven't looked it over yet, so I guess we'll see. But anyways, you have anything else you would like to add to today's episode?
I do not, but it's very weird, and I like good mysteries.
Yep.
And this one, I think I caught the bug, the Overton bug, not the June bug, the Overton bug.
The Overton bug.
Because now I want to dive deep into this and find out what they're hiding.
Yep.
And then I get frustrated when can't find any information.
It is frustrating. But that is the end of our topic/episode today. I hope you all enjoyed it. But before we roll out today's episode, I want to share a story, quick little story time.
Ooh, I like stories.
It has nothing to do with today's episode. Nothing.
Even better.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with it. So I was thinking about, I was just sitting in bed last night. I couldn't sleep. Actually, it was this morning. Couldn't sleep. And I was thinking about some of the times in my life where I've laughed the hardest. And there was one incident that I don't think might have told you about it once or might have not have. I don't know. So let me paint the picture for you. Okay. It's 2007, spring of 2007. The iPhone was just released. The very first one.
Oh, the round looking one? I remember what the first iPhone looked like.
It's like, it looked like a turtle shell. Half silver, half black at the bottom. But anyway, it was the first iPhone released, and I was in the Fire Academy. Fire Academy class number 25 under Captain Cook. I was there with my brother, and I was there with my uncle, Buck Nasty. Shout out to Buck Nasty. I know you're watching, boy.
Buck.
So anyways, it was, the Fire Academy was very military-like. You had to show up every morning with like your pants ironed, your shirt tucked in, belt, your shoes nice and polished. You had to be clean shaven. You had to stand at attention. And then every morning when the bell went off, the Captain Cook would walk past all of us and we'd stand at attention in our little groups because we'd be grouped in like group A, group B, group C. And he would walk by and he would like feel our face and look at our face, make sure we are clean shaven and all that shit. And if we weren't, we'd have to go run around the campus. Literally run around the campus. Fucking suck. Anyway, so in the middle of class, I think it was like every Tuesdays and Thursdays. Well, the fire academy was Monday through Friday, and it was all day long. Tuesdays and Thursdays, or it might have been Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we had PT, physical training. I can't remember the physical trainer's name, but he was this old dude, like really old, like almost 70, but he was fucking yoked. And he trained the police academy as well. So we had to go to another part of the campus to go do our PT, physical training, with this fucking old dude. So the entire fire academy one day, we all go to this one building. It's pouring down raining. We all go inside of the building and we all put on our PT clothes, which is just, normal like fire academy blue shorts with the fire logo and like fire academy shirt that's gray. Two of the people are in our fire academy class are walking around the inside of this building because it's separate from where we usually would go for our fire academy class. It's separate from it. And it has like weight equipment and stuff, and it had a pool. So they're like walking around, they're waiting for the PT instructor to show up. We have like 10 minutes to just do whatever. And I'm sitting there just waiting, and the two people in my fire class go and jump in the pool in their PT clothes. And they're like, it's raining outside. Shouldn't matter if we're going to go, because we had a run that day. We usually ran like 2 or 3 miles together as a class. All of us would get in a line and run just out in the middle of a fucking field or around campus or whatever. Anyway, so they were like, it's raining outside. We're just going to jump in the pool anyway. So they jumped, swam around a little bit, and then we made a call out to him. We're like, hey, the PT instructor's here. So they fucking get out of the pool, they run, and he calls attention. So we all have to get in attention. So, dude, you can't it's just like drill sergeant shit. You have to like stand at attention, like be stone faced. So he calls attention. We yell for him. The students come out. We can see the instructor coming up who's called for attention. We all go to the gym area, which is like an open area. We're all, boom, lined up, standing for attention. Fucking the two of my classmates who had jumped in the pool were literally dripping wet. Dripping. Like they had just got out of the pool, and then boom, we're standing at attention, just dripping fucking water. They were soaked. And all the rest of us were dry. The instructor starts making his rounds, PT instructor telling us about what we're going to do, where we're running, all that. He's walking by and he stops. The fucking two that were, and he goes, what in the world? Why are you, he did the full military thing, like, why are you cadets, call us cadets, why are you cadets soaking wet, standing at attention, soaking wet? Cadets, why are you? Give me an answer. They go, our dryer didn't work this morning, sir. I fucking lost it. I lost it. The whole fucking class lost it. And we got our asses chewed out by him. I couldn't stop laughing. And he made us run so much for that. Oh my fucking God. But that was one of the times I laughed the hardest, was when they said, our dryers didn't work this morning, sir.
I thought they were going to at least blame the rain like they were thinking, but the dryer didn't work.
Oh my God. Yeah, we ran so much that day out in the rain. We were all soaked by the end of the day. But that was a good story. Another one, Fire Academy, same thing. We were waiting for the PT instructor. We had about 10 minutes to spare. We were in the same building. This is a different day. We went to the gym to get ready to stand at attention. And one of our classmates, Cadet Fitzhugh, which I call him Fish Nuts, everybody kind of picked on him. Some of the bigger guys in the class started taking dodgeballs that were just laying around in the gym and started fucking chunking them at him. And I mean, they were throwing those things fucking hard, and they were bouncing off the side of the gym wall. Well, one of the security guards that were there, who like make sure nobody fucks stuff up, went and told our PT instructor that we were destroying, not me, I was just watching, but the other cadets were destroying the gym. And he comes in and gets us all attention and fucking chews our asses out and then makes us run so much. It sucked.
Damn security guard got you in trouble.
What?
Said damn security guard got you all in trouble.
Yeah. We were like, Whirly. Whirly was one of the cadets named Cadet Whirly. Walked by the security guard and said, "What the fuck?" It's like, what the fuck? And she's like, "I'm sorry. I just had to tell on y'all." But yeah, man, Fire Academy. Great time. Great time. I just wanted to share that experience, that story that made me laugh.
I don't think I'd be able to keep it together as soon as like we all lined up. Just seeing them like dripping wet over there.
Yeah. Boom. And then our dryer didn't work this morning, sir. Like,
I think I would have started laughing and turned around like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I lost it. It was a one of the funniest moments of my life. Anyway, if you or a loved one have had issues with your dryer working, please comment down below and let us know. If you are part of Fire Academy class number 25 under Captain Cook, or you know Captain Cook, comment down below. Which, by the way, I saw Captain Cook many years later after I graduated. Graduated in 2007 from the Fire Academy. I saw him in like 2013 or 14 at a Baylor meet and greet, taking photographs. And I was like, "Captain Cook." And he looked at me, and I knew his hobby was taking photographs. He's Captain Cook. I was like, "Cadet Aaron." I said my last name, Cadet Aaron, blah, blah, class 25. And he looked at me. He's like, "How's it going?" I could tell. He didn't know who the fuck I was.
You had so many cadets.
Yeah. But good times.
Should have been like, "You don't fucking remember me."
Yo, how dare you? Oh my God. Oh my God. Another one of the times I laughed the fucking hardest. Fish Nuts, Fitzhugh, the one that got dodgeballs thrown at him. We were doing in-class drills over something. I can't remember what we were doing, but it was in-class drills. And we were separated into our crews, our groups. And Fitzhugh was a part of my crew. Which I fucking hated him being a part of my crew. But anyway, we were doing something, and Captain Cook's wife and daughter come in the classroom, and it's towards the end of the day. And I can't remember why they came in, but they were talking to him, and he walks up in front of the class with them, but we're all in our crews doing something. Fitzhugh looks at her, and Captain Cook's daughter was wearing like a dress, but she was like super fucking pale, like as pale as this cup.
Oh,
like white. Fitzhugh goes, "Damn, bitch, you don't step out in the sun." I about lost my shit.
oh my God.
I was like, "Oh, I hope Captain Cook didn't hear you."
He heard him, didn't he?
No, he didn't hear him. Thank God. He would have literally killed him.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was an ass whooping right there.
Yeah.
How old was his daughter?
Same age as us. Like 20 at the time, 19, 20.
Yeah, he probably would have got it killed.
Yeah. Anyway.
Damn.
All right.
Damn, bitch, you don't get out in the sun.
Well, that's it. That's all this free stories I'm going to give. Maybe we'll have a story time on our premium episode one day.
We haven't done story time in a long time.
That'd be good. Do a story time.
I need to think of some stories that I have.
Yeah. Anyway, well, that's the end of the episode today. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you all have a great weekend. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your love. And without you, we could not do this. So with that being said, Dan, would you like to roll us out? By the way, we're proud of you.
It's okay to be out of this world with your thoughts.
Because you are not alone.
Boom. Fumes. You fought it.
Our dryer does not work, sir.